You're grounded.
The Hanson kids are dying to get their mom out on a date.
She'll go out, then we'll go out.
But tomorrow night,
Dimitri's a vampire. Good point.
they'll be dying to get her out of it.
I'm not gonna let Dimitri turn mom into an onion. What?
Disney Channel presents
I have the power.
Yeah, right.
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, a Disney Channel original movie starring Caroline Rhea.
Enough!
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, part of Zoog Weekends.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Pop Culture History Podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me today is returning guest. And if there's anyone that I would want on a Halloween-themed show that really exudes and invigorates the Halloween spirit, it is my friend, professional wrestler, LFC fighter. And LFC, you know her as Lauren the Adventurous Ceccarelli. If you're a pro wrestling fan, which a lot of us are, you know her as the Adventure X, Laura Frazier. Laura, it's a pleasure and a privilege. How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I am good. First and foremost, folks, this movie that we're going to be talking about, I got 3 pages of doggone notes in this. I know this woman has her notes as well. We are going to be talking about the 24-year anniversary, 24 years, and we're going to talk about if it holds up when we're done covering the film. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Yes, we are talking about Aunt Hilda meets a vampire. Aunt Hilda and Mr. Sheffield doing their damn thing. So for those who've not seen Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, it stars the lovely Miss Caroline Rhea. Matthew O'Leary, who this is actually his first TV film, which is crazy to think. Like, this is his first film, because you may know Matthew O'Leary from Domestic Disturbance with Vince Vaughn and John Travolta. You may know him from Spy Kids, Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon, which is a very underrated film. Laura Vandervoort, who's been on Smallville and many shows like that back in the day, even maybe some Veronica Mars. Of course, Charles Shaughnessy, the one who plays Dimitri the Vampire, Mr. Sheffield from The Nanny, Robert Carradine from Revenge of the Nerds, and right before his big role on Disney as Sam McGuire, the father of Lizzie McGuire on Lizzie McGuire, Miles Jeffrey, who, if that name looks familiar, that face looks familiar, he was in another DCOM at this time, one stepsister from Planet Weird with Courtney Draper. She turns into a soda, The Bubbles, one of the weirdest damn plots for a Disney movie ever, but okay, we'll go with it. So, yeah.
Not the only weird plot.
No, especially with this one, because we're getting into this, my goodness, because we're really going to showcase, folks, not only number one, Laura, I think you could concur, early internet, but number 2, don't email people that you don't know, you sons of bitches.
No. Beware of those classified ads in the National Enquirer.
Oh, good Lord. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, this one over here, we got to put over the social medias here with Laura Frazier, which we will do. But first and foremost, I'm going to put up a photo here. Shout out to Adventures in Science, man. First and foremost, love you and Darwin doing the thing. I saw it on social media, gave it a like. I love this, man. You guys look great.
Thank you. Yes. I was very inspired by a recent watch through of Pearl because I really like that movie. And I was like, I think it'd be really fun to wrestle as this character. So yeah. And then obviously Darwin's a huge Reanimator fan. So he wanted to do that and we made it work.
Well, I got to say, with the team like Adventures in Science, She Blinded Me with Science, the crazy and amazing song that is. And, of course, Weird Science with the lovely Miss Kelly LeBrock and Anthony Michael Hall from back in the 80s. This really does showcase Halloween to the T. And, I mean, folks, for those like we mentioned and I'm going to say this to you because 3 years, we're coming upon it this week. 3 years since your debut with LFC against Veronica Payne. I had to put that over, man, because we're coming upon 3 years of our first ever encounter in Vegas, LFC 35. How does that make you feel, man? Because we're coming 3 years upon that epic debut of yours.
That's wild to think about. I can't believe it's been that long.
I will say you have definitely come a long way. So, folks, if you've not checked out Adventures in Science, I will say this. Go and check out you and Darwin. I've always admired the synergy, the nerdiness, the overall authenticity and genuinity that brings out between the two of you in this. So much love to you both, man. I really do love this. You guys did a great job on this.
Thank you.
We're so welcome. So now, speaking of great job, because this is one in regards to our show. And Laura Frazier, you've been on that Twitter machine, man. You've been on that X. So we're going to talk about it. All right, here we go.
Yes.
So she points out she's watching Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire for our very podcast tonight. Mr. Sheffield can get it in this movie. He can bleed me dry any day. Ma'am. Wow. Wow.
In that first scene in the supermarket, he just was looking real good. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
and
just
then,
saying.
well, hold on here, man. The follow-up to this is what's even better. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Dude's hella creepy.
Oh, yeah. No, when he starts talking to her at the dinner, when he's like, I I forgot exactly what he said,
I
but I
mean,
was
like
just like,
that, where he's like right in the face, like that, like right in the face.
yeah, I was just like, Jesus. And then he just kept getting creepier, like throughout the whole movie. It didn't end until the end. And
Did it end?
I was just like, damn, okay, never mind. Not into vampires.
I will say this, and all right, we're gonna get into the movie clip and scene by scene by scene, but let me just put this into fruition. When a dude is literally at the dinner like this, and there's so many different keys and takeaways and the subtleties and intricacies and nuance that it's just like, all right, how do you not see where this is going? Like, for instance, like you mentioned the market, and we'll get to that scene. But when he's literally telling, like, yeah, I work in the trauma unit at night at the hospital. Hello, like, hello, blood, trauma, emergency. Like they like the clues, like they're giving us the clues. Goddamn
Well,
it!
if that's like the only information you're going off of, like, I don't assume everyone who
I'm
works in
just saying, man.
trauma.
Blood, man. Look at red. All right, we'll go back to hip hop here. Death Row Records, and their color, everything was red. Blood. You know what I'm saying? If you're not twisted up in the game, you may not know that. You know what I'm saying? Death Row Records. Hello. That's what I'm saying. All right. Like I was saying, when I was watching this when I was like 8 years old, and then you watch it as a 32-year-old grown man like I am now, I'm gonna say right now, it hits you differently, but I think in this regards, it still makes you smile because I'm going to pull this up here as well before we get into the film. Because Laura, I was doing my research here, and Wikipedia is your friend, ladies and gentlemen. But look at these movies that came out in 2000, like before we even got to this, because 2000 was a hell of a year for Disney DComs. I mean, we started with Up, Up and Away with Robert Townsend and Michael J. Pagan for the superhero movie. That was not bad. The Color of Friendship, which is an instant classic. I urge anybody to go see it, with Shadia Simmons talking about, just what everything that happened with apartheid. Alley Cat Strike with a young Robert Richard, who was in Cousin Skeeter at the time, the bowling movie. Rip Girls, the Surfer Girl movie. Miracle in Lane 2 with little young Frankie Muniz doing the kart racing and whatnot. Stepsister from Planet Weird, like we mentioned, where she turns into bubbles and the gaseous and the soda, whatnot. Yes. Ready to Run. This one actually caught me by surprise because I totally forgot this existed. You remember the one about the horse, where she's on the horse?
Oh my God, no. That's like the only one that I can't think of that you just brought up. But all the other ones, I'm like, oh, I remember all these.
Yeah, so like I pulled it up and I'm like, for those that can see, here it is. So she's on a horse, and it's pretty much that's what it's about. Like, she's a girl jockey in a predominantly male sport of horse racing. So she's the only girl in a horse racing with guys. And I'm like, I don't remember this movie at all, but okay. Of course, Quince with Miss Kimberly J. Brown, the star of Halloween Town. The Other Me, which is another one of my favorites just because NSYNC's Bringing the Noise from No Strings Attached is in the movie. The Andy Lawrence movie where he accidentally clones himself in the infamous cafeteria scene, Frozen Pizza Rocks, and he just starts dancing and doing this, or the hell this is, but this was something. And he's doing the dance moves. You remember The Other Me? No? I'm looking at that.
No, I don't remember that one.
Okay, I'm going to say this right now. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. For those who have not seen The Other Me, I'm telling you straight up and down like 6 o'clock, Laura. You will not be disappointed. You will laugh at the funny kind of cringy maneuvers that are in this, but God damn it, it's something to see. So, yes, the one where Andy Lawrence clones himself, then Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, then Phantom of the Megaplex, and then finally what closed out 2000, The Ultimate Christmas Present. Like I said, the list of 2000 movies that DComs had, man, that was a hell of a start to the new millennium.
Yeah. There's a lot of really like big ones there, but yeah, I remember most of them. Especially The Ultimate Christmas Present. Oh my God, which is what the whole weather machine discourse reminded me of.
So, all right, for those who haven't seen, this will probably be one of our watch lists for a future episode. So I'm just gonna say this: Hallie Hirsch, young Brenda Song, before she was doing The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, London Tipton, yay me. It's pretty much their kids. They don't want to go to school. Who doesn't want to go to school during the holidays? Hello, snow day. So they steal Santa's weather machine, and well, they make it snow, and then it just doesn't stop snowing. Then you got Peter Scolari, who was in Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks. He plays the weatherman that wants to find out about this whole thing, and it turns into a fiasco. Yes, that was the premise of The Ultimate Christmas Present. And also, we mentioned Robert Carradine, Lizzie McGuire. Haley Todd plays the mom, who will go on to play Joe McGuire, Mrs. McGuire. But yeah, Ultimate Christmas Present. That was a hell of a movie with a whacked out weather machine.
Yep.
Now, we talk about these plots and the craziness of these plots. So let's get into Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, just because I remember seeing the commercial for this, and I remember being very intrigued as a kid because I'm like, all right, y'all are wanting to get your mom out the house, as we all do. You want to go to the Harvest Festival. You want to do this. You want to do that.
To see the Headless Horseman.
See the Headless Horseman. To see the Headless Horseman. All right, we'll get into that part because, good God, this reminded me of when I was a kid. So I grew up on Long Island, right? New York, right? So FTK Carnival, we used to have these back in the day, folks. FTK stood for the kids. This literally looks like any carnival that you would go at your local elementary school, like towards the end of the year, and you would just be fucking throwing the milk bottles and shit and doing all that crap. This is what this was like. This was just an over-exaggeration of that because we got to go to the goddamn Harvest Festival and all these. Oh, God, when we get to Boomer, oh, my God. But anyway. What a douche. Excuse me while I pimp out my sister to get a concert ticket.
I know, right? No, he's pimping out both his mom and his sister. Like, this guy sucks.
What a douche. He's a douche. He's a horrible person. Like, you watch this as a grown up and you're like, this kid is a fucking horrible person. He's a terrible person. Okay. I will say this as well, and I have to make you laugh at this because as we have discussed, and this one over here sends me a lot of Britney Spears stuff on Instagram, which thank you, by the way, because this one has a special place for Britney. So Britney Spears around this time, we'll mention the Britney fact. I can't get no satisfaction. Oops, I did it again at the VMAs. One of her best performances ever, if those have never seen that performance of Britney from the 2000 VMAs. But do you know what single turns 24 years old on Halloween itself? And I cannot believe it. And I think you're going to laugh when I say it. Can he give me a guess? It's a boy band. I'll give you a hint.
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it...
Hit me. Go on. I'll tell you if you're in the right ballpark.
Oh, is it the Backstreet Boys, Backstreet's Back?
No. Close. Well, that was good because of the Halloween video, but no.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, no. You ready? Ready for this one? O-Town, Liquid Dreams.
Okay.
Again, when you're 8 years old and Liquid Dreams, and then you realize as a kid, as you're adult, what the hell you're singing, you're like, oh, okay. But yes, O-Town, Liquid Dreams, the debut of O-Town on Making the Band.
How I feel about a lot of Spice Girls lyrics.
Whoa, okay, stop right now. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Okay, all right now. But
well,
yes.
I was thinking tonight is the night when two become one. It's like, oh. Yeah, when I became a teenager, I was like, oh, that's what my parents were just letting me sing along to in the car. Cool.
Yeah, that's what it was. Two become one. You start to realize, I mean, even Christina Aguilera, Genie in a Bottle, gotta rub you the right way.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this woman. First of all, Christina Aguilera.
Or Hit Me Baby One More Time. Like, come on. Come on. I just love how that's so funny how Max Martin was like, I didn't get the translation right. And I meant to say, like, call me one more time.
Yeah, but no, it's Hit Me. Like, literally.
14-year-old girl is singing that song. Oh, my God.
And Britney and Christina were like 18, 19, like, mind you, like, they're young adults, but it's like when you got Christina Aguilera talking about like wanting to lose her virginity and got to rub you the right way at 19, it's like, okay. And Jessica Simpson, don't get me started with I Want to Love You Forever. It's not about Jesus, Jessica. Stop it. I know she said that in an interview, but still, that cracks me up to this day. It's about Jesus. No, it's not. So anyway.
She tried, okay?
She tried. Oh, she tried. Okay. But what we did try to do and what we did watch, and we got through this. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Let's talk about this opening scene here. First and foremost, they're watching The Revenge of Count Krelski, which if there's anything that could play into Count Dracula, I got to say Count Krelski is a very cool name nonetheless. It's in the carriage and, she's in the trance, true love breaks the trance. So he's watching it.
Yeah, I was wondering if they spent most of the budget on the horse and carriage.
It's a very plain scene. Big castle, horse and carriage goes right to the thing, and then just the whole thing of just the trance. But yeah, so that happens. He's watching it, Matthew O'Leary. Then Laura Vandervoort, who, by the way, let me just say this right now. Laura Vandervoort, what a cutie beauty. Like, seriously, from this, if you look at her now, what a cutie beauty. Like the blonde hair. Oh, my goodness, what a beautiful young lady. And then... Sorry, I'm the guy over here. I'm putting this into the forefront. She was a beauty. It's still a cutie beauty to this day. So you get Matthew O'Leary and Laura Vandervoort, and they're fighting. She's dating this guy, Peter, who we never see throughout this movie.
No. Only talking to him on the phone. Guess they just didn't want to cast him, I guess.
They did not want to cast him. Peter, you douche. And so Peter, who was apparently a loser, according to Adam, is on the phone. It is the Hansen family. Adam Hansen, Taylor Hansen, and just everybody that goes into this. So Chelsea Hansen's on the phone talking to
Hansen brothers are watching.
Top ba this time around. So the Hanson brothers and sister are there. She turns it off because he's doing the lines from Count Kelsky. And then you see Taylor sitting in the corner. Then here comes Caroline Rhea, who, by the way, Caroline Rhea, perfect fit for the mom here. She plays this role to a T, number one. But also she looks good. Looks very good in her nice little attire there, her work clothes. And I got to admit, this has got to be really cool for her because, I mean, you're doing Aunt Hilda, and now you're being the mom to a vampire, so you kind of have the similar vibes of what you're doing with Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I think Disney had a perfect fit on that front.
Yeah, that's probably why they cast her, because it was like a very good synergy type thing.
And so we get to that, and then she winds up turning it off, and you know what I'm saying? Go do your homework, the whole nine. Vampires, moms, teenagers, vampires. And then, all right, look, here's the thing. I totally forgot that they were divorced. Like, I legit forgot about that because I knew I thought separated or death or something, but then it's like, you get the marriage invitation, and she was going to give the speech.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that part. I remembered that they were divorced. I did not remember that she got his wedding.
The wedding invitation, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And he's like, oh, yeah, I got that last week. What? I'm like, oh,
yeah, we talked about it already. All the kids know. It's like, oh, so I'm just the only one who doesn't know. Cool.
Oh, save me a speech, as she put it. And then, but she's like, Mom, you're still the bomb, which that was nice, giving them reassurance to the mom. Absolutely.
One of the few decent things this kid does this movie.
Yeah, one of the few decent kids. Mom, you're still the bomb. That's great. I'm going to pimp you out to get this date so I can go to this fucking concert that looks like a goddamn carnival. But hey, you're still the bomb. It's okay. It's okay. So then we get to Duffy, who I don't want to say anything, but he looks like literally he would spend a lot of time at the skate park. Let's just put that into the forefront here. Like, he literally looks like he would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, little Tony Hawk Underground. So here comes Duffy. They got backstage passes to the Harvest Festival, and he's got, his brother. He works at the radio station, wants to get him tickets, get him backstage passes. Let's go, let's do it. Just maybe he's putting it out there, the feelers, if you will. Then we get to the fucking classroom. Oh my God! So he doesn't do the homework.
Oh yes, the plagiarism.
So he, as any kid, doesn't want to do homework. Who doesn't want to do homework?
Yeah. No, I never did. I never wanted to.
Yes. So he's like, how am I going to do this homework and write this paper and bullshit this? Oh, I know. I'm going to look at the Weekly Secret, which is like the National Enquirer, as Laura mentioned earlier in the forum. Yeah, and he reads about Malachi Van Helsing, and he writes this, and he does the essay in the paper talking about Malachi Van Helsing and if vampires are real. And the teacher's like, you're making this up? And he goes, no, it says it right here. And he goes,
yeah, it's right here.
Right here. Yes, right by the baby raised by orangutans. You can't make this up. It was just like, okay, like, yeah, we're going to do this. And then, of course, Duffy comes back out, and he's like, hey, man, I heard you plagiarized in your class. And he's like, yeah, it is.
Travels fast at that school.
Really, like, it's just like, oh, by the way, hey, plagiarize. One scene is just like, I'm doing it, then he's like, plagiarize. I heard about it. Like, we literally were just in the fucking hallway, like 10 minutes.
This was before, like, smartphones, like, text, like, they had the cell phones. They're ancient-ass cell phones. But,
right.
like, this is before, like, texting. So it was just like, oh, damn, how did these people gossip?
Could you imagine if they had, like, the Zach Morris phones in this, like, just friggin' like the hello when they start freezing time, like it's fucking Saved by the Bell up in here back in the day? Jesus, my God. But, yeah, so Duffy comes out in his skater look. He was a skater boy, said see you later, boy. He wasn't good enough for her, Avril Lavigne. So we had Duffy coming out, and he's like, hey, my brother came through, backstage passes, you son of a bitch. And then they're all happy, they're smiling, he's riding his bike. Can I just say the music as well? That like that is like the instrumental of this theme. That very generic.
Yeah, the stock music for Disney Channel original movies.
I feel like they've used that many of times, if I remember correctly. I'm sure they have, but I'm
pretty sure it was in Smart House or something very similar.
Hey, man, when you talk about Smart House, all I know is Five slam dunk the funk, and they're doing the friggin' dance into the friggin' Disney in concert. Got to plug Disney in concert, and then the house is jumping.
Also Bewitched.
This one over here with C'est La Vie in the girl's room, and she's just jumping up and down on the bed. Yes. Huff, I'll puff, I'll blow you away.
Relatable content.
I know. On a side note, by the way, I saw this. So React Channel did the reaction of like teens and adults, and that song was in there, C'est La Vie, and they had to finish the lyric. I'm like, a lot of them did not know the lyrics to Bewitched. It got me right here in the heart because, again, one hit wonder classic, but yeah, not a lot of people know I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll blow you away. Classic, people. Europop in the late 90s, right?
Oh yeah. In the 2000s, I really liked God, the one that Us Against the World.
Oh, Play.
Yeah, they were great. Oh my gosh. I was like looking at the video. They look like children. They don't sound like children in the song. They sound like grown ass women, but they look like babies. I'm like, geez.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is when we had Bewitched, Play, Steps, and all these groups, including S Club 7, which God rest his soul, Paul, who's no longer with us, but yeah, who are now S Club 5, so to speak. But yeah, no, there was a lot of Europop folks. I mean, Alice DJ, do you think you're better off alone? That you think you're better off alone?
Yeah.
You notice how everybody did like the Thunderpuss remix back in the day, and it's like every song had to be the back in the day, very commonplace, you know.
Mm-hmm. They had to get it, playing in the clubs. That's how they chart, and that's still how you chart. That's why they have all those crazy remixes.
I think the one that sticks out in my head is, I remember this. All right, I'll go the Enrique Iglesias route. Do you remember his song "Be With You"? That song "Be With You" that came out in like 2000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For those that have seen the video, and you get to see it, great. All right. First of all, I believe it was Shannon Doherty who was in it, or Shannon Elizabeth, one of the two, the one that was in Scary Movie, one of the Shannons. So she plays the girl in the video when they go to the convenience store, right? And they're on the road trip. And then he goes to the freaking rocks in the fucking mountains. Then all of a sudden in these freaking mountains, there are clubs, ladies and gentlemen. And he's singing the song, and then it turns into, don't turn me now. Come to me now. I got to be. I'm like, you're singing a ballad, talking about how you want to be with this girl, and all of a sudden it's. I'm like, all right, we're gonna flip the script, because that was a lot of the music videos. Look at "Waiting for Tonight" with Jennifer Lopez. It's like this dance song, and then you amplify it. Oh,
yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry, my was kicking in. So we go from the fact of the do. He's back at the house. And the Caroline Ray gets the call from the English teacher, and he's like, "Hey, if you don't do your homework, then you're grounded." And then he's like, "I got a handle on it." And I'm like, "What the actual fuck are you talking about?"
He's the way these kids talk in this movie is like, they don't talk like children. They talk like adults. Like there's at one point where Chelsea says to her brother, "It's like, we got to get you home, Squirt." I'm like, you would not say that as a teenage girl.
I'm going to add to your point. I'm so glad you brought this up, because then she's like, "Enjoy your weekend, dweeb." And I'm like, what? Like, dweeb and squirt? Like, what is this, the 50s? You can go enjoy your weekend, you squirt. Okay.
I can believe dweeb. Squirt, though? It's like, what the okay. That's what a stepdad says to their child, not a teenage girl.
Fucking Leave It to Beaverland over here calling little Taylor Hanson squirt. Oh, yeah, squirt. You're going to go get your babysitting on. Go play old maid with Tiffany, I say. So that happens. And first of all, the fact that he calls her by the first name, Lynette, and she's like, "Excuse me, who are you to tell me that, call me by my first name?" It's like, I'm trying to create a dialogue here. What?
Oh, what? Yeah. And she's just like, you're 13, you're not creating dialogue.
So bottom line is, they get grounded, and she gets grounded for making the dweeb comment, so they can like get along. And she's eating ice cream, talking to Peter, who, again, we never see in this movie at all. Fuck you, Peter. So they get grounded. They're in the friggin' room. And oh boy. All right. So here we go. So the infamous spot in the room. So they're looking to find the mom on a date. So they're going through the classified ads, and they're talking about people that are like thoughtful, but the guy that they're with is talking about is incarcerated. And he goes, "What does incarcerated mean?" Means he's in jail. So they X out that one really quickly. And then he's like, "Oh, we can look in the ads some more, emails." And then the line of the movie: you can't email someone that you've never met. Bingo. Bingo.
That's the whole moral of this movie. Don't email randos. Especially in the classified ads of the National Enquirer. Okay.
Yes.
So Weekly Secret, or whatever knockoff name they went with.
Weekly Secret, yes. So, Miss Laura Frazier, I have to ask you about this. So the description that they give for Charles Senesi is continental gentleman, loves adventure and travel, like long walks on the beach, and hates Italian food and turtlenecks. I can understand the garlic portion of not liking Italian food because vampires. I get that, but turtlenecks?
Because then he can't get to her neck. Although, okay. Personally, if I saw a guy say that, I'd be like, "Oh, the dude's a pervert because he wants to see cleave." That's what my brain would jump to. My brain would jump to that. The Italian food part, I'd be like, well, we can't get along because I'm half Italian and just it's not going to work out. So yeah, but the turtleneck thing, I'd be like, oh, this guy's a pervert.
You see, I totally didn't think of the fact that, the sucking on the blood with the neck. I wasn't even thinking of like that. I just thought of like, okay, Italian food and turtlenecks. I wasn't thinking that. Very nice catch on that. Thank you. But yeah, no, I would be the same. I'm Italian as well. If you don't like pizza, then no, we can't be friends. We can't be friends. Oh, yeah. So we have the Continental Gentleman. This is an accurate description of what we're going to get with Charles Shaughnessy here. So they sent the email to Wolfsbane. As freaking email, Wolfsbane. Hello. Okay. So
yeah, a lot of these things in isolation would not be red flags, except for maybe the turtleneck thing. Because again, like I'd say, the guy's probably a perv. Right. But like it together, along with, as you said, the trauma unit thing, it's just like.
Yeah. Okay, I concur, but I also look at it like this. He's like, it doesn't matter. First of all, that's another fucking prick thing that he goes, whatever, he's great. Like, what do you mean he's great? You just read the thing and you're just like, oh, he's great, let me write him. Like, not even like thinking in your brain, like, maybe, assessing the situation, but he's just like, yeah, she's great, let's fucking email this guy. And then we get to the point. The fire raises in the fireplace. The arm comes out.
Oh, yes. That scene, oh my God, is so amazing. Such camp. Oh my God. I love how he I was watching a YouTube video of this one girl, I think YouTube's called Avery Talks About Stuff. And it's like, I love how he gets out of the coffin and goes and checks his email. Like he's rolling over in bed and checking his phone at 2 a.m. in the morning. Like good stuff. Good stuff. He doesn't get out of the coffin to, look at it.
No, the arm just reaches and he's like, yeah, I'm going to check my emails now. Just like, oh, the best is not even this. It's just, he does the fingers thing where it's like, send.
Yeah. And I love how he has the fireplace notification. Most people just have a, vibrate on their phone, but no. Oh, he's extra.
Oh my Lord. And then the excuse that they give. So they're sitting at dinner and they're just eating and whatnot. And he goes, I remember when we used to be happy.
Oh, and yeah, the guilt trip.
Guilt trip. And I'm like, what? And then he goes, I remember when we used to eat pancakes. I can make pancakes. But do you have chocolate chips? No. He's like, I remember we used to have chocolate chips. We were all so happy then. So you're getting this woman to go to the market to meet this guy. And the guilt trip that you put on this woman is, remember when we used to have chocolate chip pancakes? I mean, you could have used something else for guilt trip, but chocolate chip pancakes? Mind you, they're delicious. I've had some chocolate chip pancakes in my time, but chocolate chip pancakes? I get it. To go to the market, I understand the situation. But out of everything, how you're writing this, to guilt her into chocolate chip pancakes. Okay, sure, fine.
We'll I don't know. They could have been let's go to the market to get baking soda for a volcano experiment we're doing in class tomorrow. Why not? I feel like there are so many other ways he could have gone. But instead, he was like, no, I'm going to guilt trip the fuck out of my mom.
Mom, just to give her the puppy dog eyes. Mom, you remember when we used to have chocolate chip pancakes? End? That would be the end? Where are we going with this? But all right, sure. To the market we go. So we go to the market.
It hasn't been the same without the chocolate chip pancakes. Let me tell you. My mental health has plummeted.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I don't mean to laugh so much, but it's the little things. And just, again, we talk about subtleties, intricacies, and nuances in every art form, whether it be film or what have you, especially in this particular film. But God damn it, chocolate chip pancakes. All right, fine, fuck it, we'll go to the market. So we go to the market, and they go in, and they're looking for the homeboy, and they go and bump into this guy. And she goes, you know what I hate? Italian food. And then you see him buying the Italian food, and then she goes,
oh yeah, no, if a teenager came up to me in the market and said that, I would just be like, get away from me. What drugs have you been doing? Go. I would have just dropped everything and just left. I'm not, there's some sketchy children here.
True, but this is 2000 and we don't think about this because it's just, it's before what we know now, Miss Laura Frazier. But I concur with you. I would just be looking at him get the fuck away from me. What are you doing here? Why are you in my space? Why are you in my grill, so to speak?
Stop talking to me, child.
Stop talking to me, child.
Where's your mother?
Where's your mother? And then And the best she goes, oh, well, arrivederci. All right, fine. Cheesy, got to use the Italian word because the Italian food, fine. And then he's going to find the guy, and he goes, hey, buddy, you look like a guy who likes long walks on the beach. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, you know what? Maybe you're looking for that nice woman. Then here's the cake. Happy anniversary. Again, I understand what they're trying to do because they're trying to meet the guy that they're talking to. Which, again, don't email people you don't know. So, again, it's the
and don't talk to strangers in the supermarket.
That's the point I'm making. It's just like you're going up to random strangers trying to see, like, hey, would you date my mom, please? And did I talk to you on the internet, by the way? So they're trying to find him. And Robert Carradine, who we get introduced to here as well, which, by the way, Malachi Van Helsing, Robert Carradine, the nice little hat and a little, all right, I'm feeling this. So he comes in.
Indiana
Jones type vibes.
Inspector Gadget vibes.
Yeah. And then he comes into the market and he's like, come to Papa. And I'm like, all right, that's a way to make an entrance. Sure. Come to Papa. And he's walking through and he has the eye contact with Miles Jeffrey, who plays Taylor Hanson, and they smile. There's a little exchange there. And they're still looking for a homeboy. And then here comes Robert Carradine down the aisle, just walking so mysteriously and whatnot, has a mystique about him. And he's like, oh, that's the guy. Let's go. And then she's like, well, did you find everything? No, we got to look for something else. And then they're walking. Then they bump into the friggin' to the buggy, the cart. And here comes Charles Shaughnessy. All right, go ahead, Laura. I'll let you take it away. We read the tweet over here with his blue button down and the jeans. All right, you want to talk about Charles Shaughnessy over here? Because you were girl crushing over here. Go ahead.
He looks really good. What can I say?
Friggin' acted like Fran Drescher, Mr. Sheffield, and friggin' the nanny with friggin' Charles Shaughnessy and his blue jeans and his blue button-down T-shirt, just shopping in the middle of the night. So they're like, I want to exchange licenses and exchange registration. I thought that, okay, now I'm not going to lie. For a pickup line, that was pretty good. I thought that was very funny. That was kind of cute. So they're having this dialogue, and then Matthew O'Leary, who is oblivious to the fact that Charles Shaughnessy is clearly flirting with Caroline Rhea, and like, hello, like, he thinks he's in a parking lot, and he's like, she's flirting with him. Like, of course he knows that they're not in the fucking parking lot. So, and also,
it's like he goes from being like a pretty smart kid to like a total dumbass in that moment.
Like 10 seconds. Like, he went from being like, okay, we're going to scheme, we're going to get this plan. Then he's like, he thinks he's in the parking lot. And it's like, Hadoy. So they're going out, they're got to talk. And he goes and pretty much is like, hey, remember when my mom like was in a rock band? And she's like, that was like over 1 million years ago. And then he's like, okay. And then he's like, did you watch the Rent a Crown Krowski? He's like, no, my mom made me turn it off. He goes, oh, it was a very good reason. So he's saying the right things at the right time. And he knows, okay, hook, line, and sinker. Let's go, baby. And then I got to say, the kid putting in the little like sweets to try to sneak it. I thought that was great because we've all done that.
Oh, the huge.
He's just like, I'm going to grab all this and just.
Yeah. Is this chill? Remember when we used to have these along with chocolate chip pancakes?
All right, it's very cheesy, but I again, we know what they're trying to do. But the fact that we look at this from the adult lens, it is cheesy, so cheesy as hell. They could have went so many different ways with this, but fine. So, like we mentioned, they both exit the market. They're talking, they're conversing, so to speak, and then they talk about the trauma unit. And again, I'm like, hello, trauma unit night, blood. Yeah, and then working in the hospitals. And he goes, I never have the chance to go and shop. And it's nice to go out and start shopping. I'm like, all right, it's nice to be in the grocery store. Fine. And then they strike up a conversation and a date is made. And he's like, I really don't date. And he's like, is that a yes? Yes. And so she's nervous. He's like ready to like go on this date. And then Robert Carradine, we see him in the parking lot. He's like, yeah, what's up? He's like, I know there's a vampire in there and I'm going to find it. And then Taylor Hanson comes out.
No idea who he's talking to.
No idea.
He's talking to someone.
Talking to somebody. We don't know who he's talking to. We don't know who the hell Peter is. It's just mysterious people. So Taylor Hanson.
They never come up again.
So Taylor Hanson comes out, and Charles Shaughnessy comes out, drops the milk or whatever the hell he was buying.
He could have turned the corner before doing this, but okay.
But no, it's just like the sketchy van is like in front of you that looked like it came out of some lab or whatever. It looks like what could be described as like a FedEx truck. If like you're coming down the road and you see the brown FedEx thing just come up, or like a UPS thing, and he just stops right in the middle and is like, "Fuck this milk," and then I'm gonna turn into a vampire. The visual was very cool.
A giant ass bat, yeah.
to the fucking bat, and then he gets startled and he sees him, and and then we move on. So, all right, and as I go to my notes here, because folks, I wrote 3 pages of notes on this damn thing because I knew what we were talking about today, and here we go. So he's in there. Taylor Hanson is all like startled. He's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what I just saw." And here's friggin' dumbass Matthew O'Leary is like, "What do you mean? You gave my ticket to Boomer? How could you give my ticket to Boomer?" And then
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Laura
With that like 90s ass phone.
Yes. Laura Vandervoort's part was fine because it's like, okay, Peter, we're on because my mom, my brother emailed this guy and we're okay, we're ready to go, shoot. And then we get to his room, that fucking phone, like you mentioned, the 90s phone with the roll and just very 90s. He's playing some like game on the computer like you used to play back in school when you had like the pickaxe and you're doing shit. Like it's really old school 90s. Like, oh my God, I was watching this. I'm like, holy shit. Like this is really retro right now. Oh my goodness, the early days
of technology.
Yes,
in the 2000s.
The 2000s, yes. So he's got to meet Boomer, and Jesus Christ. So they come and shot to a diner, which the best way I described it in my notes, and I will read this off to you, Laura Frazier, and to people who enjoy this fine program. I legit wrote, they are literally sitting in the diner that Mandy Moore and everybody who was singing Candy like come to me when they're in the diner and the fucking Candy video. And then she's like teasing the homeboy with the blue shirt and the spiked up hair. And then they come out the diner that's very 50s-esque. And then she starts doing like the fucking dance number. I'm like, what are we going to the fucking sock hop? This is like, I felt like I was in like a 50s diner for God's sake, if that makes sense. I felt like I was in Mandy Moore's Candy video. Like, what is this diner just sitting down? And he gives him fucking a baseball and comic books. Please, sir.
Oh, yeah, that football.
Giving him a fucking sports ball and comic books. And he's like, this is kid stuff. I'm a 16-year-old teenager. What the fuck do I want with comic books and a fucking football?
Those comic books might
maybe
have money value. You
True.
could sell them, maybe, depending on what they were. I couldn't tell what they were because high def was not a thing in 2000.
True.
But yeah, and they very strategically moved pan the camera so fast past it that it's just like you can't see what comics they were. But it's like, I'm sure if you Googled whatever they were, you could probably make a pretty penny off of them. But
this is true. But Boomer is a douche, and he's the typical decom bully that's not very smart and doesn't know what the word unattainable means. And literally, it's just a douche. He's a fucking
inattainable.
Douche. Inattainable. What's inattainable? Like,
I love how they talk about him like he's not there, like right in the booth.
That's my thing too. Okay, all right. Here's my thing, and why I love why you bring this up. He's like, "How could you give my backstage passes to Boomer?" He's literally right there, like he's right in front of your face,
like barred out. Yeah.
And he's like, "How could you give my backstage passes to Boomer?" Like, he's a 10th grader, and all he does is steal our lunch money. He's like, "Oh, we're friends now. We talked it out. We hashed it out." And he's like, "Yeah, we're friends now." And then he goes, "But why Boomer?" And he's like, "I felt this could be a great way to, salvage things." And then he goes, "I know that you like this girl. You have a crush on a girl who you found to be unattainable. What's unattainable mean?" And so he's like, "You never stood a chance." And then he sits down and he goes, "You happen to know her brother?" He's like, "You could get me a date with Chelsea." And then Duffy's like, "You like Chelsea Hansen?" Like, you don't know that's his sister. Like, y'all have been friends probably since y'all have been in diapers, or you came up in school together, and you're just gonna be shocked, like, "Oh my God, you like Chelsea Hansen?" Like, you're literally been friends with the brothers, and you were probably in grade school. Like, why are we acting like this is a shock or like some big reveal that that's his sister? But okay, sure, whatever. I'll play along. So then we get to the fact that he's like, "All right, it's got to be like a real movie. We got to go get some burgers and go see a kung fu movie, and we come back here for burgers, and then I get to give her a kiss goodnight." And he goes,
"Oh God."
This is where, first of all right, we'll get the female point of view. Miss Laura Frazier, if the night turned into, "I want to go see a kung fu movie and then come back here for burgers," is that an ideal date for you? We'll get the female point of view on here. How he's describing.
I mean, not with Boomer, no.
Boomer. Fucking, he's a douche. He's a horrible person, this fucking Boomer. Oh, not with Boomer. Yes, but a kung fu movie, I will say, with burgers. All right, count me in. Let's go friggin' watch some Bruce Lee, friggin' some Jackie Chan. Let's go get some burgers, gosh darn it. So,
yeah.
Ideal date aside, So then he's like, and I get to give her a kiss goodnight. And he's like, I don't know if I can guarantee that. And he goes, well, I don't know if I can guarantee this. And he gives him the backstage pass. He goes, fine, a kiss on the lips. You literally just pimped out your sister for a goddamn backstage pass. And I'm watching this. I'm like, why are you even considering this? Like, I'd be just like, if this was real life, like, fuck it. Just, you know what? Just fucking go. I know who my friends are. Fuck you. I'll do this. And this concert's not even worth it. Like, she's my sister.
Yeah, I'm grounded anyways. Like this
fuck
is too
it,
much
just
trouble.
Go. Just go.
Too
Just,
much
you know what?
trouble. Having to set both my mom and my sister up
right.
on dates that they should not be on.
Right. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, you know what? This plan was going to go bad and south in a heap. So here, just take my ticket. Like, fuck it. I'm already grounded. I'll just stay home. Like, this is not worth it. And fuck you, Boomer. So, fuck you. That's the moral of the story. Fuck you, Boomer. So, well, we're gonna get more to fucking Boomer later because what a douche in the friggin' van. Oh, I hate him. So he takes the backstage pass because he pimped out his sister to Boomer, and then we get back to. I hate to say it like that, but you watch it as an adult, and I'm like, what an asshole.
That's legit what happened.
That's legit what happened. He's an asshole. So they go back to the house, and then this big-ass red sports car comes up, baby. Yeah, because it's the color red, because it's blood. And he comes out looking sharp, man. This Charles Genesi with the button down, the shirt, and the oh, my God. This dude was ready to go. So he comes up to the door, and she answers the door, that being Chelsea. And then here comes Matthew O'Leary. You know, I almost said Boomer. Oh, Dimitri, why don't you please come on in? And he goes, sure. And then you see the slow motion of the friggin' walk in there. And it's like, again, another clue, another giveaway that, hey, slow motion, how he's coming into the house. And also, can I just say on a side note, and I know we're rapidly passing this, but Dimitri Dontatos, it's Italian or maybe it's Hungarian or Romanian and Hungarian. I'm like, Dimitri Dontatos? Out of all the last names you could think of, Dontatos? Dontatos? All right, sure.
Maybe
Okay.
he needs vampire in Transylvanian. I don't know.
So Dimitri Dontatos shows up, and like we mentioned, the slow motion of the footprints of the step into the house. Again, dead giveaway. So interesting portion of this, because as they're waiting for mom to come down, and he's just sitting there, again, staring like this, like not creepy at all, just like looking at them, like, you know, just like staring at him, like with not a creepy or menacing look, like not at all, like not at all, like. Oh, it was uncomfortable. Like the stare was very
nothing sus about this guy at all.
sus. So, do you actually remember the rumor about this? Because I'm going to pull this up. So there was actually a deleted scene. This has been rumored, but we don't know if we can confirm this. So, originally, with this scene that we're talking about here, this is from a blog. I've seen this movie many a times, airing on Disney in October for years. Them random recordings uploaded to the internet, now on Disney Plus. I don't ever remember seeing a dog in the movie. There's no dog in the background of any scenes, and there's nothing to be seen in scenes taking place in the house. This suggests a dog lives here, but according to the internet, after the film premiered, Disney Channel received many complaints about a shot in which Dimitri licks his lips while looking at the family dog, presumably because he was interested in feasting on it. The shot was removed from the subsequent airings. So either A, this isn't true, or B, they just hired a dog for the one moment and then cut it, or C, they cut the scene and scrubbed the dog from the rest of the movie. So that particular scene, apparently, they originally had a dog, and that seems supposed to be him licking his lips like he wants to suck the blood out the dog. But I can tell you, I remember as 2000, even as a kid, I don't remember that. And even as an adult, I don't remember that. But isn't it interesting that they possibly did and they scrapped it, which they should, because, you know, again, you don't want to prey on an animal. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I thought that was kind of peculiar to even read about that.
Yeah, I heard about that rumor when I was watching that YouTube video that they were talking about it. And like, I don't know. I think they're confusing it maybe with like another movie with a dog, maybe, because there's a lot of Disney Channel original movies with dogs. And yeah, I don't remember that scene happening, but yeah, that wouldn't shock me that, you know, a bunch of parents would call in, because oh my God, like almost every Disney Channel movie, like a bunch of parents had like a bunch of complaints to say about it. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys need to find something else to do with your time. Like, I don't know, be a parent.
Oh my God, yes. Very bluntly and honestly said, Miss Laura Frazier. I concur with those sentiments. Now, I will say this to add on to your point. This was around the time, too, as well, when they aired a lot of the Boy Meets World replays that we had, because it ended in 2000, of course, around this time. But then Disney started doing the replays from the early inception to the later years. So there was one episode that they do not play on the Disney Channel when they watched it in the re-airings. Do you remember what the episode was?
Was it the one where they do go to the WWE with Vader, or WCW?
No.
No.
Okay.
I remember they had to cut out the noise from the crowd because they kept cussing out the kids, like when they were filming that.
Yes, the WWF Vader Jake the Snake Roberts match. When you have a wrestling crowd on the set of this and they're pretty much telling Sean Hunter that he sucks, is absolutely hilarious that they had to cut that out. And then Ryder Strong has talked about this on Pod Meets World, and he's like, these kids, they freaking just screwed at me. And I'm just like, screw you guys. Like, because he doesn't understand like the wrestling side of things. He's like, I'm an actor playing this part. Yeah. Like, why are you yelling at me, man?
Yeah, like, what did I do to you?
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, this is what it is. And Ethan Suplee even talked about it because he's the one who played Frankie. And he's like, yeah, it's just what they do. And he was even getting hot about it because he's like, I'm trying to act. Like, I'm trying to act, guys. I'm trying to act. But yes, but no, that was not the one. So the one that they actually cut from airing was the one where this was during the season 5 when he broke up with Topanga. And the whole thing where Linda Cardellini, comes into the fruition and play. So they break up, and he goes to the party, and he's known for being the downer because he's crying, he's upset. You know, he lost the love of his life. So this is the episode where he starts drinking, and he steals the whiskey from his father's cabinet, and they pee on the cop car. And that was the episode that they cut because then Sean gets into starting drinking. So they cut the drinking episode from the airings when they reran them on Disney, which makes sense.
Yeah, that's why they got rid of Susie Q, which I remember my parents taped that on VHS for me, and I watched it a lot because the Pink Ranger was in it, and I was very into the Pink Ranger at the time from Power Rangers. So I was like, yeah. And then it's like, oh, teenage drinking? Let's just pretend this movie did not exist.
The Pink Ranger. I like your style. Okay. Very good movie, too, as well, folks, for those who've not seen Susie Q. But yeah, no, that was
I don't know where you can find it.
But... You can find it, but okay. Well, I mean, if you remember at the time, like this movie, like they aired this, like, so on the weekends, folks, like mind you, back in the day, you had the High School Musicals and the later Disney films in the mid-2000s, 2010s, so to speak. Remember they used to air them at like 3 o'clock in the morning on like Fridays and Saturdays?
I don't think they even did that with this one, though.
Oh,
did
I think they did it once, and then that was it. Like, I remember the Megaplex, but I don't remember anymore. I just got a date with a vampire. They just took it off. Bastards.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was like, if you want to see the old school DComs that were actually good, you can watch them at 3 o'clock in the morning on a fucking
like True Confessions or I'm trying to remember other ones, but no, the weird like late 90s, early 2000s ones. Those were fun.
Yes, the True Confessions.
Oh, was Blank Check one of them?
So I'm gonna say True Confessions, yes, with Shia LaBeouf. Very touching film. I will say that he played the role to the T. And for those who've never seen True Confessions, very emotional. This one over here with Blank Check. I like your style. Okay, Brian Bonsall is legit like
that movie is so messed up. Oh my god.
That he plays an 11-year-old. And he gets this blank check, and then he buys this house. He changes. He's literally committing crimes. He changed his name to Macintosh.
He's going on a date with a grown-ass woman? Like, what the... Oh, my God.
So Karen Duffy plays the FBI agent, who's, first of all, beautiful woman. Karen Duffy is absolutely stunning in this movie. So I can't believe we're talking about this. So Karen Duffy, who at the time was literally around our age, like she was early 30s, and he's a fucking, like, 11. Like, legit, like 11, like preteen, maybe like about to get into his teenage years. And they're going on a date. Boy, they're in the fountain dancing and they're just, woo-wee. Boy, I tell you, and they're dinner. And the worst is the driver. Like, his boy is like talking him up, like how to act on the date. And I'm like, y'all don't think this is like weird that he's like 11 and he's going out with a 31-year-old? Like, hello? And I know it's for movie purposes. But then it gets even worse, and it made TikTok, and it made all these things because we still talk about this scene, and we can't believe that they fucking got away with this. So at the end, when they get the criminal, and they get the guy, and he goes to jail, and then she shows him the badge, and then he's like, I'm going to miss you. And then you would think, okay, maybe like a hug, or just because like that.
Yeah.
him right on the fucking lips, to put it in the bluntest of terms, right on the lips. And I'm like, ew, like, I don't know how to feel about this. This is wrong. I mean, if you're like a kid, like, even then, like, I mean, you talk about like the hot teachers and you fantasize about, like, as a guy, but even as a guy, as a male, I can even look at this. I'm like, all right, this is not right. Like, why are you kissing this kid?
No one that age.
I can't
no
even.
one in no one who's 31 should be kissing an 11-year-old. Like no.
That. Like that.
No. Like maybe like on the forehead, like, oh sweetie.
Or like on
kid.
the cheek. I'll take a cheek. Back.
Yeah, but
and then the best is that he's in shock from that, and I'm like,
I would be too. Like, oh, a grown ass adult just kissed me. Oh my god, I'm gonna go throw up.
Again, as a young kid, and us guys with our levels of how the male species is, so to speak, I can't even look at that. I'm like, dude, this is so wrong. Like, why are you kissing an 11-year-old?
Yeah, any gender, that's wrong.
Fucking just fucked up. Oh my god, you just brought back memories of Blank Check. And that, because again, folks, in today's day and age, that scene often comes up. It's like, how did Disney get away with this? Again, it was 1993, it was 1994, different time, but still fucked up. Right,
this was before To Catch a Predator.
Why don't you take a seat? Over here? How's he do that? Chris Hansen. By the way, on the side note, I actually they put up. We're not going to get To Catch a Predator, but you brought it up with To Catch a Predator. So there's the one episode. So it came up in full, and it's not the one where the guy just comes in and starts chasing the cat because he wanted to have sex with the cat and the kid. I'm like, that's gross. Don't watch that one because that was even weirder because he gets naked and it's wrong. That's not the one.
Oh.
I know. This is what we had though. They were awful, but Chris Hansen was the shit. So the guy comes in and he has like a marriage contract and he wants to be with like this 13-year-old girl and he brings pizza and he drives 2 hours to bring pizza to possibly sleep with the girl and give her a marriage contract. And Chris Hansen's like, you don't find anything wrong with this? And he's like, is it illegal? Like, to talk to her. The reason why he said that, because the guy's like, what you were talking, he's like, what is it, illegal to talk? Like, yeah, like, she's 13, bro. You don't want to talk to this girl, because it's in every episode if you've seen To Catch a Predator. You don't want to talk to this girl or try to save them. You want to have sex with this girl because you are a deviant and you are a heathen. Yes, I said deviant and heathen on this show. So he's eating the fucking pizza like a douche, because he's like, okay, yeah, I'm here, so I might as well eat the pizza. And then he reveals himself, and he's like, oh, fuck. Because I know if I leave this fucking house, there's going to be cops there. And he's not telling me that there's going to be cops there. So there's probably going to be cops there. And then he gets arrested. But the audacity and the douchery of this guy, I believe his name was Joey something. If you have to look it up on YouTube, what a piece of shit. Just eats the pizza and acting like, yeah, I'm just going to eat this pizza. And then I'm going to go hang with this girl. Marriage contract. Fucking people. To Catch a Predator. Jesus. Anyway, back to Mom's Got a Date with the Vampire. So they leave, and she's talking. Well, first of all, let's talk about how Caroline Rhea, again, the purple, like oh my God, she was decked to the nines. She looked really good. And I was like, all right, you go, Caroline Rhea. So she's apprehensive about going out, and then she's like, it doesn't matter what's on the inside and what's on the outside.
Oh yeah, she wanted to go to the. Oh yeah, that's right. She's like, I'm too old for this. And it's just like, you're not too old to like find someone else.
Like,
you're divorced.
I'm a single
Your husband's getting married.
Like, you didn't even know that he was getting married. Here's the invitation. Oh, by the way.
But your kids knew.
The kids knew. And it's just like, she's like, oh, I'm apprehensive. I'm a single mom. I don't really date. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? Yes, you do date. It's not what matters on the outside. It's what happens on the inside. And they're trying to give her this inspirational bullshit speech.
Oh, yeah. And while they're like, oh, my God. While they're trying to scheme to, like, go out. Oh, my God.
Then Disney plays like the inspirational music behind it, and I'm like,
I'm like, I'm not inspired by this.
Like, you little pieces of shit. Like, I hate you both right now. So the mom goes down, and he's like, you look stunning. And friggin' Charles Shaughnessy is just like, I am ready to do my trance and put in my work to seduce this woman. So Caroline Rhea is like, oh, we're gonna go get some Italian food, and we're gonna go in the carriage and just the moonlight. And she's like, how about we go to the Harvest Festival? They're like, no, you're not going to the Harvest Festival. That is not on the to-do list. Not happening. No. Yeah. You do not want to go there. And he's like, but she's like, I want
also, like, why did she seem so desperate to go there and not do dinner? Like, what? What? Are you an adult?
Because
why do you want?
She has the mindset of a teenager. She has the spirit of a
clearly.
Yeah.
Really?
She wants to go in the bumper cars and throw the freaking balls at the milk cart. Oh, so yeah, she really wanted to go to the Harvest Festival. And then it's like, no, let's see where the evening takes us. And then they leave. And then it's the creepy music, like, oh, there we go. And then he just goes upstairs and goes, showtime. Douche! Fucking douche! It's showtime. I hate you so much. So they're getting ready.
And he changes from one Headless Horseman shirt to another Headless Horseman shirt.
Okay.
I don't know why, but he does.
I don't want to wear the blue. I want to wear the red. And I'm like, what the fuck's the difference? It's the same goddamn logo with the same fucking. All right, whatever, bro. So they're getting ready. And then Taylor sneaks out because it's like, I'm going to save mom. And then they got to go after the kid. And then he's an 8-year-old. And he's literally like in the city. And there's everybody. It's like sketchy. And I'm like, if I'm an 8-year-old, I don't want to be here right now. Because that.
Oh, yeah. The way they edited that, it was like a Limp Bizkit music video, I swear to God.
Yes. That is absolutely.
But like the slow motion and like the tracks, and oh my God, that was so. I was like, what is this Limp Bizkit editing?
That's literally what that was. It was a
New
lot
metal
of
shit.
It was a lot of this and just this and this, and then you see the movie theater and they're playing the Lost Boys in Halloween. I'm like, I would want to go to that movie theater. God damn it! Like the Lost Boys in Halloween are playing. I would love to go see the Lost Boys in Halloween. That is a good time right there. But then he goes to Reinfeld's or Renfeld's, whatever. So they're sitting in the Italian restaurant. Good God. So he's in the fucking restaurant and he's talking about, why don't you get the steak? It's good for the blood. Hello! Hello! And she's like, no, this is not really my thing. And then he's like, all right, well, he's like, why don't you get wine? No! Or garlic bread? No! Or we'll just stick with the water. So they're riding up. But what's also great about this part, too, is I have to bring up the car dealership scene before this. So he's...
Oh, yeah. That was a lawsuit waiting to happen.
So he's at the car dealership, and he's like, guy came here, 6 foot tall, dark hair. And he's like, yeah, he was looking for, he bought a car just like this, but it was red, and he wanted to, get the restaurants. He goes, well, did you tell him what restaurant to go to? He goes, yeah, some of the best are in the city. And he goes, may I borrow your clipboard, please? He has like this fucking like rock, and then he's just like, it's like fire. Yeah. And I'm like,
okay. He could have been like, hey, get out of the way. Like, oh my gosh.
Just like, like fire and shit.
Could have lit the poor car dealer on fire.
And then he's
then
like,
he wouldn't have been able to catch the vampire.
Yeah. And then he's just like, okay, now I know where he is. Thank you so much for your clipboard. And then he's like, glowing footprints. I knew that guy was a freak. I knew that guy was a freak. Why did you sell him the goddamn car? You should have went with your intuition and your gut. Why'd you sell him?
And then he's like, money. Who gives a shit?
No, but still, it's like you could have went with your gut and this wouldn't have happened. So now you're attributing to it a friggin' abduction. Anyway, I digress. So he leaves and he's like, well, what about you? You want to test drive this? And he goes, oh, thanks. So fucking no yellow sports car for Van Helsing. So yeah, that happened. And like we mentioned with the scene with the good for the blood, and he's just staring. You have this fire in you, Lynette.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That was the thing that I was like, this guy's a creepazoid. Oh my God.
He's like, maybe we need to let that fire burn tonight. And then the candle just whoo. I'm like, this is, oh man. And Charles Shaughnessy plays it so well because he's just looking at her like this, and he has the hand like this, and he's doing this, and it's supposed to be like seductive and putting her in the trance. And then they come in, and he's like, oh, Taylor, he wants to revenge of Count Kulski, and I maybe should have let him watch him because he thinks Dimitri's a vampire. So we have to prove that Dimitri's not a vampire. And then they go, the spoon test.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, he could have had him do an actual test, but he was just like, no, let's just do the spoon test to like shut the kid up.
So they do the spoon test, and he hangs the friggin' spoon because if he doesn't, he'll turn into flesh and whatnot. So it's a test that we're willing to take. Puts the spoon on the nose. And then he takes it off. I'm okay. Am I all right? And he goes, you're still here. Oh, thank goodness. See, I'm not a vampire. And then Taylor, when his innocent little 8-year-old self goes, oh, okay. All right. So, okay, we're going to leave now. He passed the spoon test. He's not a vampire. We'll see you later. And then we go to the reflection in the mirror. There's no reflection in the mirror. Then he turns back. And then Charles Shaughnessy, again, the facials in this, he's so good. You see the fangs, he just goes, bye-bye. And that's it. It was so creepy, but it was good. And he had the friggin' subtleties. Oh my God, he's an actual vampire. Gosh darn it. Then they go back. And then here comes this part that you mentioned, the squirt. Like, go ahead, squirt. We got places to be. Squirt. Again, like, all right, fine. But he's a squirt, sure. And then here comes Tiffany, the babysitter. And for those who don't know who that is, I'm actually going to put you on this. So the actress's name is Joanne Boland. So she was actually in Phantom of the Megaplex. I don't know if you remember her part in it. So you know how the kids.
Oh my God! I don't remember her part, but I do remember her face in that movie.
Okay, so she plays. Remember how they're all getting ready for the premiere, and he kind of distincts of like who works it here and what their role is. So
yeah,
she's the one who plays Hillary, the one that talks like a grandma. It's like a grandma trapped in the teenager body. She calls him Hun and all this stuff. She plays.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember now. Yeah, no, that babysitter sucks in this movie. She sucks.
She does.
Strange man comes in and she's like, he has to go to bed. Like, bitch, you are on the phone. You are running up this poor family's phone bill, talking about God knows what. And
no. Well, you don't know what she's talking about because it's just no way. No way. Totally.
Yeah.
For like fucking 2 hours, she was probably on that goddamn phone talking no way and totally. And the kid is playing Sorry, which I had a flashback. Just I remember playing Sorry, the board game. For those that remember Sorry, like that brought me back because I remember playing Sorry. You remember Sorry as a kid?
Yeah, I do.
Just you have to just. All right. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, board games, people. Before we had all these other games that we have now and different variations of technology, we played Sorry as kids. We played Sorry. So he's playing Sorry. He's having a cookie. He's going to good night. And then here comes Robert Carradine after he leaves the message of, my mom's got a date with a vampire. You got to help us. So he goes
Title drop.
Yes. So he goes to the house and he opens the door and he goes, are you Malachi Van Helsing on a good day? Why is it like his like catchphrase on a good day? Like out of everything you give him, just like on a good day. Like, okay, fine, sure. So like Laura just stated, they go into the house and he's like, he has to go to bed. He has to go to bed. And then he's like, it's okay. I called him. It's okay. Again, like the words here, it's okay. I called him. Like, fucking, I give up. So it's okay. I called him. And then he's like, I want to go with you. I can help. And he's like, it's too dangerous. And then he leaves. And then, and then she looks at him and goes, vampire hunter. And he goes, like, that's all you can say is vampire hunter. You've been on the phone for 2 hours saying totally in no fucking way. God, she sucks. She fucking sucks. Oh, my Lord. Okay. So we mentioned the cookie.
Yeah.
And Helsing go to bed. The market, trying to figure out where they're going. So then they leave Reinfeld. And here's the part that gets me. He puts his hand on her shoulder. And I'm like, bruh. It's even weirder because he puts a hand on the shoulder. Let's go on that carriage ride. And you can tell she's like looking at him like, why are you putting your hand on my goddamn shoulder like we just met? Again, the creepazoid vibes that come in, Laura. You know what I'm saying? Just it's so creepy. And then like, oh, why don't we just go dancing? And he's like, dancing? And he goes, well, you said you want to go dancing. And then it's like this blue suede shoe place, which I thought Elvis had a blue suede shoe. And he goes, don't you like rockabilly music? And you go like, of course I like rockabilly music, like a vampire going to a fucking rockabilly concert. We'll get to that because Charles Shaughnessy's faces in this fucking scene were great. Fucking vampire. But can I just ask you, and I got to put this into perspective because we mentioned Alley Cat Strike coming out in 2000s, right? And one of the big songs that was featured on that soundtrack was Brian Setzer Orchestra, Jump Jivin', and the way you got to jump jivin'. And that was very popular at the time, but she was in a rockabilly music record. Like, all the music, rockabilly? Like, what were your thoughts on that? Because of all the genres you could have, like, put in there, but rockabilly? Rockabilly?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, so we get to that.
I guess it was a very niche thing in the 2000s that like people were into, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was trying to figure out because like I mentioned Brian Setzer and I'm like, okay, like swing was coming back kind of sort of because we have the Brian Setzer Orchestra, but I'm like, rockabilly? And I even like the song is great. We'll get into the song because the song is very nice and it has a nice beat to it, but it's like they're singing Akunda Band, Akunda Band, Akunda Band, rock, Akunda Band, Akunda Band, rock, whatever the hell that was. And then they're dancing and he's just like, Like the facial expressions that Charles Shaughnessy has in the scene are great because he's like, "What the hell am I doing here? Like what the fuck are we doing? This woman is swinging me around to some rockabilly bullshit." What did you think of the rockabilly song? That and then you spinning. Like, how funny was that?
Not my cup of tea, but yeah, Aunt Hilda looked like she was having a blast, so there's that.
I'm right there with you on not being my cup of tea, but I will say this: it does get you.
Although I did see Brian Seltzer's orchestra live once.
Okay, so we'll touch upon this, but yes, I that's not my cup of tea either, Laura. But I can tell if you're having a good time, that's the main thing. So they're having a good time. So number 2, all right, Brian Setzer, talk about it, man. You see a jump, jive, and whale. How was that?
It was a lot of fun. Speaking of rockabilly not being my cup of tea, there was an opening act that was like strictly rockabilly, and all of their songs literally sounded the same, and like everybody in the crowd was like not feeling it. It was hilarious. And then Brian Setzer came in. I was like, okay, we're happy to see you. And I'm like, maybe that was like the thing. It's like put on a really bad opening act, so when like the main act comes out, you're like, yay.
So they all sound like that.
Literally, it was just like a guy with a guitar and a guy with a stand-up bass, and all of the songs sounded the same. And I was just like, oh my God. Like the first one, it was like, okay, cool. And then they just all sounded the same. And I was like, I'm not into this. I can't vibe with the same song 10 times or however long their fucking set was.
So I was on a cruise ship and my grandmother wanted to go. So it was my mom, my grandmother, and I. Again, family time. Very nice cruise, by the way. It was very nice from the food that they had, and they had the gambling whatnot because my grandmother loved to gamble at the time. And so the one guy, and I'm going to say this right now, he was not a bad musician. And I mean, he did his thing. But it's like, how many times do I got to fucking hear Caribbean Queen by Billy Ocean? Like, I get it. Like, that's like the main song. But how many times do I got to hear Caribbean Queen? We're sharing the same dream. Hearts have been as one. No more love on the run. And he had the southern accent, and I'm like, bruh, really? Like, like how many times I gotta hear Caribbean Queen? God damn it! Like I've heard this like twice already. You said Caribbean Queen to the same fucking people like 10 times. Caribbean Queen. All right, fine, sure.
Someone kept requesting it over and over and over again. They're like, yes.
Caribbean.
Yes, I need to keep hearing this. And it's like everybody else is like, do we need to keep hearing this? It was fun the first time, but like now I want to puke.
And mind you, I love Billy Ocean. Like that is a great fucking song from the 80s.
It is.
But I don't want to hear it like 100 fucking times.
Yeah. Like, maybe there's like 5.
Like 5. Like 5. Okay, fair enough. We got a limit on these things. So we
if I'm in the mood,
We got back to Robert Carradine in the car, Malachi Van Helsing. Then he sneaks out through the window, and then he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He's like, "I sneaked out." And then the best part is he sits on his hat, and it just fucking folds, and he throws the hat in the back, and he's showing him where to go to follow to get the mom because he knew that they were going to Renfield's, and they're not there. And then he's like, he asks him, where would you go around here if you were dancing? I'm like, I'm 8. Like the 8-year-old does not know about All right, fine. Cute little moment, but yeah. And we
doesn't really talk much to 8-year-olds, which is understandable. A
True.
man of his age.
True. So then we go back
to occupation of vampire hunter. I wouldn't be talking to many 8-year-olds either.
So we go back to Blue Suede Shoe or whatever the fuck this name of this place was. So then it's like her name of her group because Matthew O'Leary tells the guys like, hey, my mom was in this rockabilly group. Let's have her perform. But before that, he runs into this guy, Jim, and he's like, how you doing, Bob? And he goes, my name's Jim. And this dude is wearing like this green thing. He looked like he was wearing a fucking booger. Like this thing
I thought it was Lance Storm at first. I like literally went to IMDb and I was like, is that Lance Storm? It's not Lance Storm. I just, but yeah, I love how he was more concerned about these women talking shit and not the fact that there was a child in the club.
All right. I can't see if I can be serious for a minute. I can't see Lance Storm the same now. But I can actually see that. You just put Lance Storm, him doing the Cabbage Patch during his fucking late WWE 2004 run, just dancing in the club like this, like literally like this, doing the friggin' Lance Storm gimmick in 04 in that.
Yeah. Like I thought that was like a meta joke, but then I remembered it was Disney in the 2000s.
Wrestling reference, ladies and gentlemen. And for those who are wrestling fans, we thank you for getting that joke. For those who are not, look up Lance Storm. You'll thank us later. So So he's wearing this green fucking sweatshirt that literally is so bright green, he looks like he's wearing a booger. Like, literally, it's like the color of snot. And I'm like, bruh, out of all the choices you got to pick to go to the club, you wore that.
Maybe he thought there was going to be black light and he would, like, super stand out, you know? He's like a built guy. He wants to, you know, stand out more than he already does because he looked like fucking Lance Storm. I'm sorry. The dude looked like a pro wrestler the way he was built.
So like Laura mentioned, he's like worried about the girls talking shit. And he's like, I can dance all the time. And he goes, well, there's a woman right there who's just dancing, who's asking for a dance. Why don't you go ask her for a dance? And he goes, excuse me, kid. Then he's going towards her and he goes, hi, I'm Jim. And then here comes Charles Shaughnessy out of fucking nowhere. And he goes, oh, this guy asked me to dance. Do you mind? He goes, well, of course I don't mind. But you were leaving, weren't you? And he goes, what? And then just backpedals with the fucking vampire powers. And he goes, seems he changed his mind. And yeah, that was the end of Jim. Hi, Jim. Bye, Jim.
Hi, Jim. Bye, Lance Storm.
Bye, Lance Storm. I can't look at it the same now. Why? You put that image into my head now, but I thank you for that because that was hilarious. So we move away from Lance Storm and his un-American self. Yes. So he's gone. And then they're like, her name of her rockabilly group was the Cowgirl Blues. All right. And then it's like, come on here and sing one for us. And he goes, do you guys remember Maybe? And this song comes on. Very good song, by the way. Now,
it's a bop. It's a bop.
If you're asking if I'm in love, then maybe. And then people are dancing around Charles Shaughnessy, and he's looking like, what?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. If he wasn't like an asshole, creepy vampire guy, I'd actually kind of feel bad for him. Because, like, what the fuck was this date?
Yeah, because they're dancing around, and then she's singing Maybe. And then he talks to the bouncer. And he's like, that's my mom up there. He goes, well, you're a lucky kid, but you still couldn't be in there. Duh! He's 13! Like, why the fuck?
How the fuck did you even get in here? I didn't see you come in.
I don't even... Anyway, the logic point just gets
Went through the unlocked back door.
Just fucking the logic goes out the window. Like, he got a little locked back door. And then he's like, you know what? All right, I'll help you out for Lynette Hanson, anything. That guy's bugging her, sure, we'll throw his ass out. And then he goes up to him and, hey, Slick, the party's over. Get him out of here. That was the end of Charles Shaughnessy. Gets thrown out, lands on their fucking bikes because they fucking threw this dude. Breaks the bike, handlebars with his fucking bare hands, and then he just walks, and then he, she's hiding, and he looks her way, and then he just leans back, walks up
the wall like Spider-Man.
Just walks up the wall, just leans back, just walks casually right back into it.
I'm not certain that is a vampire thing, but
that was my thing. It's like I don't think in any vampire movie that I've seen, whether it be, even Van Helsing with friggin' Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale, or any vampire movie, Interview with a Vampire, Dracula, whatever, I don't think I've ever seen Dracula walk up the fucking wall.
No. Why didn't he just turn into a bat and then fly up the wall? Like, where the fuck is he?
But
did they not have enough money for the bat effect? Could they only use the bat effect once because they spent so much money on the horse and carriage for their fake ass movie?
I don't know. So he walks
Count
up
Sekreski or whatever the fuck it was called. I don't know.
Count Krelski. So then he walks up the wall. He's back in there after the song's over, and they're clapping and they walk out. And then he's like, "What happened to the bikes?" "Oh, he did that." And then she goes, "Dimitri's a vampire." Duh. Where you been? Like,
well,
duh.
she didn't see that he didn't have a reflection, and she didn't see him turn into a bat. So
I know.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
That's true, but still, like, duh. Like, he's only been saying this, and now you had to visualize that he walked up the fucking wall.
Well, like, I'd be skeptical too until I saw that. Then I'd be like, yeah, there's something up with this dude. We shouldn't have set up our mom with him.
Well,
but I'm glad she would, like, just completely turned around in that moment. It was just like there wasn't any more resistance at that point.
So what happens next, I cannot explain, because it reminds me of like Jerry Springer with like, I drank the blood, Jerry, and that guy had the fangs. So that's why I'm a little skeptical. And Jerry Springer's seen a lot of shit. God rest his soul. When you have that guy's like, I drank the blood, Jerry, like that's what kind of makes you skeptical, because that dude thought he was a vampire. Anyway, I digress. So we come up to the next part, and and he sees him drive away, and they're trying to figure out, like, like, where were they going to go next? And then he goes, he's not a guy, he's a vampire. He's like, she's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care if he's Frankenstein. All guys are the same. The women's
Yeah,
intuition.
he wants to go wherever she wants to go.
The women's
to,
intuition.
Appease her, yeah.
The women's
The objective's similar at the end of the day. Like make her like you so you can get what you want out of her, which is fucked. But you
Yes.
know, it's the same.
It is very much so. So he's like, you know what? If this was Count Krelsky, that goddamn Count Krelsky, he would be like, "Come to my lair, my darling," and and she's like, "My mom would not fall for this." And I mean, you can tell she wouldn't fall for this because she's already like, "Why am I at this Italian restaurant? Why are we going here? Why are we going on a fucking carriage?" She's like, "I want to go on the bumper cars. God damn it! I want to have some burgers." Like she doesn't want to be here. So
Yeah. Clearly they're not compatible.
no, not at all.
Clearly they both have different ideas of what a fun date is, and they shouldn't have gone out in the first place. That and he's a vampire.
I'll be honest with you. And so, from the male point of view, myself, and for this one who's been around me and all my LFC ladies, I like to treat myself like a gentleman. And you know how pro I am and I'm very to the T. But I'm going to say this, Laura, that is too fucking much. Like, I am not going to be like long walks on the moonlight. Like, I'm just like, give me some good times and good company. We're cool. We're totally cool. But that's a little to the extreme. And much you, this is for any nice guy out there. If you're like myself or anybody that really, really loves women and is very professional and decorum, that's too fucking much. I can even say that's too fucking much because you don't go to the fucking moonlight and fucking passion. I know you're trying to get the girl to like you, but that's a little extreme. There's a little bit like, hey, man, like dial it back just a little bit, if that makes sense. That goes to all the pros and nice guys out there. So, yes. I had to speak from that.
And if you guys if you guys clearly don't agree on what is a fun time, then maybe you shouldn't be dating.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. But yes, I had to give that PSA to the nice guys out there. Don't go to that fucking extreme. Or if they're not compatible, don't try. Just move on. Just move on. It's okay. Not everybody's compatible. I digress. So we move forward within the movie. And then they're like, oh, she wanted to go to the Harvest Festival. So we're back into Malachi Van Helsing's car. They split up fucking PB&J, goddammit. And it's a nice wholesome moment. He's like, did your mom make it? I don't live with my mom. And he goes, does your mom make you sandwiches? My mom does everything. So it's a nice wholesome moment between Robert Carradine and little Taylor Hanson. That was nice. It was one of the nice moments in this movie, besides the fact that these kids are absolute douchebags. And Matthew O'Leary has a bride. We're gonna call Duffy, and we're gonna go with his brother, and we're gonna go to the douchebag Boomer in the fucking van to the Harvest Festival. And Boomer, you cut to them in the van, right? And he's looking at her like this. And I'm like, what a fucking douche. He's a creep. He's looking at her like, and she's just like, why are you fucking looking at me like that? like why? What are you doing, buddy? It's literally like The Wedding Singer. What are you doing, buddy? I'm sorry. I used to be a lot stronger. That's what it was like. So we get to the fucking Harvest Festival and they get out and he's like, the vampire, you know what? Well, you're going to help us? And he's like, no, I'm going to go to the Harvest Festival with Chelsea. And he's like, no. And he goes, can it, Boomer? We had a deal, Adam. If you give me your pass for a date with your sister. And then she's rightfully pissed. She just is like, walks away, like rightfully pissed. Like, you asshole. And then he's like, I thought you were my friend. I am. You're the douchebag that wanted to go to this fucking concert so badly that you pimped out your sister, and you want to talk about I thought you were supposed to be my friend because you won't help
for real.
Yeah,
for real.
Because you won't help me fucking fight the vampire. Like, no, you douche. You wanted to be here. You're gonna fucking be here.
Yeah. Also, are your friend like your sister didn't believe he was a vampire? Like, come on, come on.
That's the thing. He's like, yeah, right. Like, you can tell even in the car. He's like, no, he's not a vampire. Like, right, yeah, sure. And then he's like, I thought you were supposed to be my friend. I fucking Matthew O'Leary. You're a great actor, but you are a fucking douchebag in this fucking movie. So
yeah, not a great character.
Oh my god. So we go to more of the Harvest Festival. He catches up with the sister. And as we move on to more of my notes here. So they figure it out like we want to go. We're at the Harvest Festival. Here we go. So he's a douche. He goes up to her and he's like, I'm sorry, it was the wrong thing to do. And he's like, you know what? You literally set up a date with me with that creep, and you set up a date with Mom. That was you. And he goes, well, that was, I've learned a lot throughout this time. She's like, literally, that was 6 hours ago.
Yeah, character growth within 8 hours.
And he's like, just you have to be more like within yourself, and you got to look on the bright side, and every this like cheesy fucking shit he's talking about, and like you have to accept people or whatever the fuck he's trying to say. I kind of tuned it out because I'm like, you can't have character growth in fucking 6 hours. Like literally at 2:00 in the afternoon you're a dick, and now at friggin' at 8:00 in the night you're a wholesome person. Yeah, doesn't fucking work like that. But all right. And she just goes along with it. And she's like, you're still a dweeb. Okay, we're gonna go find mom now. So they get on the Ferris wheel, and he's like, "Think of mom. Where's she going? Mature." And then she's sitting on the fucking like little like, "Woo, woo!" I died laughing because I'm like, there was nothing mature about Caroline Rhea in this movie. She's gonna be on the fucking woo. You know, and I died. I'm sorry, it made me laugh. It's the little things. So he's got the balls, and he's like, they got on the Ferris wheel, and she's trying to look for him, and then she's like, that was fun. He's like, yes, that was tons of fun, but now it's time to go. And then he gets into the creepy voice, and he's like,
completely lost his patience.
He's lost
this
his
date.
I'm tired of this
insane.
fucking rockabilly music. I'm tired of the carnival. Like, let's get down to fucking brass tacks here.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, you know what? Don't you feel any type of attraction to me? He's like, no, I'm talking about myself. Now I finally found out who I truly am and the love I have for myself, the stuff that I was missing, that I thought I lost, and now here I am. Again, powerful message, just powerful in the confidence she's regained back.
Good for her.
Good for her, absolutely. And then he's like, I hate this place. I hate children. I'm tired and I'm hungry. And then he looks into her eyes and he's like, you know what? And he's looking like this. And she's starting to get into the trance. And she's like trying to fight, like, what? Why the hell are you grabbing my arms, man? And then he's looking. And then she's like in the trance. And then all of a sudden he goes, I think something's wrong. And he's like, oh boy. Throws the ball, hisses, friggin' vampire. And then he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you hitting me? Why are you hitting me with the ball, man? And he's like,
what did I ever do to you?
What did I ever do to you? And he's like, you sent for me. And he goes, that's not true. And he goes, didn't you send the email? You're Wolfsbane? Yes, I'm Wolfsbane. You literally emailed me to date your mom, not knowing that I'm a vampire and that, like, I want to abduct this woman and, like, make her be my bride forever and ever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. And then he's like, you know what? I'm a vampire. You're 13. Get the fuck away from me. You best remember that if you want to live. And then he does the creepy laugh and the fangs. I loved it. Like, again, Charles Shanesi played the fuck out of this role, and he was so good. He was very good. He was very creepy.
I was severely creeped out.
Oh my goodness. So they go to the car after Duffy and Boomer. Fucking Boomer. And Duffy's like, I bet that's the vampire's car, man. And then he starts the car. He's like, great, because the car won't start. Dave, you think that Duffy was a piece of shit friend, Matthew O'Leary. That dude saved your ass for a short period of time, but that dude could not start the car. He helped your ass. And you were talking about, I thought you were my friend. He literally helped your ass. Short period of time, but he helped you to make sure that car didn't start. Yeah, he's not your fucking friend. He's not your fucking friend. He's your friend, you asshole.
He stole his catalytic converter,
Yeah, what you do. That's what you do. So then car won't start. And then we get back to the fact that they take a cab because they realize, hey, you're the monster master, as she put it. Okay. And he's like, he told us where he lived, by the friggin' place by the lake that's haunted, which, by the way, did I mention that it's haunted? And so they drive to this fucking castle that is just like even creepy vibes. It's like, I would not want to live where that place is. Oh my God.
Probably the same exact castle that was in the fake movie in the beginning.
Exactly identical. And then Robert Carradine does the thing again. He's like, we're going to find out what direction that they're in. And then it's like, oh yeah, they're going this way. Let's go. Literally what it was. Just, all right, they're going that way. Okay. I don't mean to laugh.
He does this a lot, apparently.
I know, and I don't mean to laugh, but just the sound effect of the bachoom. Like, all right. So they've made up, Chelsea and Matthew O'Leary's character, Adam. So they're going, and he's like, we don't want to go in the basement. So they go upstairs, and he uses the analogy of, like, remember when, I stole your cell phone, and what did you want to do to get the remote back? You stole my cell phone. You're the remote. Yes, Grasshopper. So he's trying to get the analogy of, like, the vampire in the coffin. And I'm like, the fact that you're bringing an analogy of the fact that you wanted the remote, so you stole your cell phone. But, like, why are we using this, like, brother-sister fight as, like, a way to, like, realize, like, the vampire in the coffin? But okay, sure. Go with it. Fine. Whatever. So they pick up the coffin, and they friggin' just push it. They just push it real good, like it's salt and pepper.
Push it into the lake.
They push it into the lake. And then he comes home, and then he's like, "Do you hear the sound of the children of the night?" And I'm like, "God damn it!" And then he goes up, and then he's like, "Humans?" Like he sniffs them, like he knows, like they're there. And he goes up, he's like, "Can you excuse me for a second?" While Caroline Ray's like,
Yeah, she's just tranced out.
"It's tranced out." Then he goes up there and he screams, and they hear it. And then he's like, "Would you go freaking hide? Like, could you stop looking at me? Like while he's freaking yelling, like, could you go hide in the bush? Get the hell out of here, Chelsea." So then he's like, "Dimitri, you looking for something?" Then he goes down, and then he lets out this big yell, "Give me back my coffin!" And then, whew, right down there. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm going to stay out here till sunrise. And then you know what? You're not going to get in. You can't cross water. Huh? I outsmarted you. Like, huh? You can't cross this water. Uh-huh." And then he's like, "No, I got a better idea." So, so he knows Chelsea's in the bushes. And he comes out and he's like, "Chelsea, you know, she's too young to be my queen."
Oh yeah, oh god, this is so creepy.
Very creepy because she's like, you know, and she's too young to be my queen, but she would make a hell of a princess. And I'm like, oh man. And then she's like, "Don't do it." But then who calls? Peter, you dick. He calls right in the middle of this. And then he's like, "Give me that," rightfully so. And that was probably the one time I cheered for friggin' Charles Shaughnessy because he threw that fucking phone. I'm like, "Peter, like, bad timing, bro. Like, stop fucking calling, Peter." We never see. All right. So they get the coffin back up there and he gives in. And then he's like, "I'm not going to keep my end of the bargain," which he's very right in his sentiments, Miss Lara Frazier. Like, you threw the ball at me. You followed me. You gave me shit. Why would I give her back to you? Like, why? Like, what reason do I have, rhyme or reason, to fucking, like, keep my end of the bargain? Which you didn't. So here comes Taylor Hanson and Robert Carradine. And he has the garlic in his hand, and he tells him to stay put.
Oh yeah, he's just like sitting here.
Like, with the garlic, and he sniffs it. And he's like, "Whoa." And Robert Carradine comes in, and he speaks the fucking language of whatever that is. And they're talking, and then he's like, "I can't say it's a pleasure." And I'm like, "All right." And then he's like, "The pleasure's all mine." Then he launches at Robert Carradine, and Robert Carradine goes, whoosh, and then he goes right out the door. And then he's like, "That's not going to hold him." And he's literally holding the stake, like this one wooden stake, just like this. Like, it's not going to hold him. We got to get your mother out of here. And then they try to grab the mom, and then they slide, and they're trying to get her out of the trance. And then Charles Shaughnessy yells again, and he breaks down the door, and he's like this. Robert Carradine, right? Then he picks him up, and that fucking piano. Oh my god!
Oh yeah! Oh god!
He throws him right onto this piano, and I felt it. Like, that piano broke into smithereens. I felt, oh, Robert Carradine, you son of a gun. Then Taylor gets out of the car, and then he's ready to, you know, bite Van Helsing, and then he hits him.
Oh yeah, he gets in there like a fucking ninja. Like, how the fuck did he get in there? And like, earlier in the movie too, he like snuck into his brother's room. It's like, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah, he's trying to, like,
ninja.
Yeah, he just gets into the room like, "So what does a vampire do?" And he's asking all the questions, like, because he's so friggin' tripped out, like, by seeing the bat. So, long story short, he gets the friggin' the stake, and he hits him, telling him to leave him alone. And then friggin' Matthew O'Leary has to be a fucking douche, and he's like, "That's great. Out of everybody in here, you want to squirt with an 8-year-old. That's very much in the Vampire Handbook." And then he's like, "What is it with this family? Don't you get it? Your kids, I'm a vampire. I have the power." And he goes, "Yeah, right. You dumbass." It's like, then he pulls him with the trance and makes him walk. And then here comes Laura Vandervoot. And then they're both in his grasp. Now, you two understand, like, what I'm saying here? Like, trying to, like, say, "Hey, I'm an actual vampire. I'm an actual vampire." Like, hello. And so he's like, "So which one's going to go first?" And then he goes for Matthew O'Leary, and then Caroline Ray just snaps out of it, and she goes, "You are." And then, whew, there's a lot of push.
Yeah. It's a good thing they were all on the same page with that one.
True. Only true love can break the trance, man. And so she broke out that trance. She shoves him into the coffin, and then, you know, he's in there.
They opened it up for her.
Yes. And then he's like, again, Charles Shaughnessy's facial expression is that, "Lynette!" And then they slow motion shut this fucking coffin. And then
he's just like so perplexed, like, no.
Like, what are you doing this for? Like, you literally, like, tried to make her fall in love with you and put her in a trance. Like, what do you mean? So, slow motion, the coffin closes, and then they're sitting on it, and then Robert Carradine in slow motion goes, "Stand back!" And then it's just, choom, 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 solid plated nails. That's slow motion for just the solid like steel nails. Okay, nail gun.
Yeah,
He's
silver plated nails.
silver plated nails. Thank you. I said solid. I meant to say silver. Thank you. Silver plated nails.
Because he's a vampire. Silver. They don't do silver.
Okay, silver plated nails. And then he's like, hey, sun's coming up. I'm hungry. You want to go for breakfast? Breakfast? Sure. He's like, you know what? And then she's like, they want to go on the date, but he's like, mom's a date. And they're doing this wholesome moment. And he's like, I date, but not vampires. So they're going to go get chocolate chip pancakes. That's the story, man. If you want chocolate chip pancakes so bad, you'll find a way. And your mom will take you to get chocolate chip pancakes, goddammit. And so then you hear Charles Shaughnessy at the end, and he's like,
he's like, hey, why don't you just let me out, let me out.
It's a joke. Happy Halloween, everybody. All right, you can let me out now. And he did say, I thought that was interesting, like he's going to ship him off to Finland and put him in this friggin' vault.
Yeah.
All right, that's random, but okay. Yeah.
Okie dokie.
All right. So that was Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Again, watching it 24 years later, I know we encompassed a lot of the scenes and the freakouts of the kid with the vampire, the douchebaggery that was Adam and Chelsea Hansen just to get their mom out on a date while she gets abducted and in a trance, and vampire chicanery and everything. So, Laura Frazier, I dare ask you this. 2000s DComs, what were your thoughts? Does this hold up 24 years later?
No.
Okay, I mean, but did you still think it was good from when you're watching it as a young kid to where you are as an adult now? Does it hold up or just no?
I mean, it's a fun watch if you just or if you don't take it seriously. Like, you're just like, okay, this is happening. Like, oh, crazy Disney Channel movie. Like, if that's what you're looking for, then this definitely fits the bill. But if you're looking for like a coherent storyline, don't watch this.
Yeah, if you really want to watch this, throw logic out the window because you're just going to be like, yeah. But I will say, as an adult watching this, it's cute for the fact that, at the end it's a happy ending. Then, of course, you kind of knew many different things. Like, they're probably going to wind up with Van Helsing. Like, they know that the mom's going to be interested in Van Helsing. Okay. There was some moments that were fun, but I'll say at the end of the day, Charles Shaughnessy made this movie for me because of his facial expressions. Robert Carradine did very well. Everybody did their part well, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, don't email people that you don't know.
No, through classified ads in the National Enquirer. Do they even have classified ads in tabloids? I've never checked.
I don't
read tabloids.
I don't either.
But my goodness.
So yes, it's much like today's day and age. Like, don't get on social media and catfish people. Don't message people you don't know. Don't be a creep. Don't stalk. Just if you want to have that instant connection, go to the market. Like, meet people like the normal way, or just in the
middle of the night.
Middle of the night, just for chocolate chip pancakes. So yes, but I would say this cute movie, still very cute to this day. But if you really look at it from a logistics standpoint, like we did as adults, there's so many loopholes. It's just so many loopholes and just wrong. It's just wrong. But yeah. It was a fun watch. I will say this, and thank you for watching this with me because it was a fun watch. Thank you. Oh, so Laura Frazier, I will say this. We'll definitely have to do some more DComs and talk about it like we did with this movie. It's always a pleasure just not only watching this and talking pop culture with you, but we'll definitely have you back on, and we'll do some more shows together. It's really been a pleasure doing this with you tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. So before we do close this out, I will say this, folks. If you want to check out our last Pop Culture History podcast where we talked about the queen that is Britney Spears, go out of here. Wait, it was a fun watch. And Laura got to curse out the paparazzi and give them a little bit of rant.
Oh, yeah, I did.
It's awesome. But yes, so definitely follow this show and follow all the shows, which we'll get to. But first and foremost, let the lady go first here. Promote the social medias, Twitter, Instagram. Laura, you're doing your thing. Let us know.
Pretty much everything is at Laura Frazier Kick, and as I've discussed with Mike before, if it's not at Laura Frazier Kick, don't worry about it. Yeah, there you go.
It's the best way to promote it. I totally forgot until you mentioned that. It's still funny. It's still so funny. But yes, follow Laura Frazier Kick, and if you want to check out Laura Frazier, Lauren Ceccarelli over here, the full bout with her and Veronica Payne as we're coming upon 3 years of LFC 35 Booty Camp 3D. Watch the event on LFCfights.com, become a VIP member. But if you solely want to watch the match with this one over here, you should, because it's a great debut. It's on the LFC YouTube channel. Almost 200,000 views. Keep it up. Keep it up. Let's go. Come on, watch the bout.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Watch the bout. It's good. It's really good. And not just because I ring announced and I was there, but it's good. You won't. I mean, Dragon Whip over here. Friggin' Shelton Benjamin ain't no stopping me now over here with her Dragon Whip. My God. But yeah, anyway, spoiler, watch it, check it out. So if you want to check out this YouTube channel, which you should, Mike Larkin 92 for the Pop Culture History Podcast, the LFC Podcast, Steve and Mike Show on the Mike with Mike. We got a plethora of topics and discussion. And SteveandMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com. My links will be in the description. Laura Frazier kick, don't worry about it, will be in the description as well. And as well as her debut bout with Veronica Payne and everything that you get from the Laura Frazier side of things. So, Laura, I'm going to say this. Next month is Phantom of the Megaplex. If you want to do a watch of that, we can even do that if you want to rewatch that back, man. And we got a couple of DCOMs, man. If you want to do the Ultimate Christmas Present, we'll do that. Have you back for some more fun.
Yeah, totally. I'm down. I love watching these movies because it's just like, what was going on in the writers' room? Like, they were like, oh God, we gotta put this together for the kids. Who cares if it's a coherent storyline? Let's just get it out there.
Put Mickey Rooney, God rest his soul, in the Phantom of the Megaplex, and the kid from Jack Frost, Taylor Hanley, and just the fact that the car breaks down, and just, oh my God, the fact that hello, like Sean's literally right there, and just okay, there we'll get to that, and we'll do that maybe on the next one, but that's fine. But yes, anyway, I digress. Thank you all for listening to our watch of Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Thank you, Laura, for doing this show with me, and thank you all for supporting this show. And check out your DCOMs, because you shouldn't email people that you don't know. Did we mention that already? I think we did.
Yeah. Important lesson was learned from this movie.
Creeps and
they might be a vampire, a creepy ass vampire.
God. So for Laura Frazier, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you guys for listening to the Pop Culture History Podcast. And yeah, again, don't email people you don't know, and don't put your hand on her shoulder. Just rockabilly music. I'm tired of this shit. Get me off of this date. And and we're out. Bye.